by the contributions we have seen today. I'm afraid my presentation will be a little bit different. And what I want to do is to start with some personal experiences in my family. You see, when my son grew up in his early childhood, he started to develop emotional outbursts. Turned out he had ADHD. And we, of course, went to health services. And one of the things that we received were a certain training. The training was actually on TV. Many of us have seen it through these Super Nanny series, where children or parents were actually helped to better go about the emotional outbursts of their children. And I can only tell it works. It reduced the outbursts to a level where we were able to manage them. Later, and after we had also applied it with our other children, there was a key conclusion, which I think is really relevant to peace. And that is, children can learn what is permissible and what is not. At puberty, it is too late. I repeat, children can learn what is permissible versus what is not. At puberty, it is too late. We learned about 10 techniques. You can see them on TV, but I can assure you it makes a real difference if people are coached one by one. And what I tried is I approached organizations as to whether, this could be used. And sadly, nobody felt responsible. That was a strange thing going on. We just weren't able to get the attention despite the huge benefits that could be obtained. And the emotional outbursts were still there. It wasn't sufficient. Okay, he should have got the pills, but we were lucky the treatment or the training we received made it just possible to avoid it. But then I sort of stumbled across therapies that appear to apply the same practices I had applied with data center computers. And one of them delivered then the final breakthrough. He's now pretty much free of these emotional outbursts. We are not worried anymore that anything bad would happen from him. On the contrary. With those experiences, I went to science and was trying to find research, but I couldn't find anything. I also created a charity, we went through science, other charities, and so forth, and tried to get research with these experiences started. And the consistent response was interesting. So it doesn't fit my disciplines, my responsibilities, and so forth. It was, at the end of the day, despite the support of two professors, one in psychiatry, the other one psychiatry and brain pathology, it was impossible to get the research started. And again, something really strange going on. The techniques actually, while they are well known, one of the techniques that were applied is in our car navigation systems built in. We use it every time when we follow the advice for an alternative route, when there's a traffic jam. But despite that, it wasn't sufficient. And eventually, Corona came. And all of a sudden, after years of absence of these practices, they were applied through what was called flatten the curve. Behind flatten the curve, there are about 6 or perhaps more practices that are being applied. And in this case, the extremely fast decision-making in countries like Germany and the Netherlands just happened. But this is not just about flatten the curve. there's a law of nature hiding behind it. Yet, whatever we said, it didn't help. Law of nature triggered people a little bit, and eventually I started a discussion or a poll on LinkedIn and asked the questions: are laws of nature relevant for other disciplines, like organizational matters, like getting innovations through the system, again, innovative solutions through the system, and also the brain? And there were surprising discoveries. Out of that rolled that laws of nature applicable in physics, applied in engineering and mathematics, are not seen as relevant in other disciplines, neither social sciences, brain research, you name it. That sounded really strange. And well, in the poll, the outcome was that 59% of the participants said they do apply, but scientists from the relevant disciplines felt laws of nature from physics and so forth are not relevant. And something else emerged, and that was that it has been impossible for science to prove how these laws of nature could be made to work in science. Now I'll show you an example. So let me share my screen. Yeah, I hope, yes. The way this law works is here. We know it from capacity bottlenecks. Number 2 up here, when the demand for a resource exceeds its capacity, a tipping point is crossed, queues build up. The results are traffic jams on the road. So I have here 3 illustrations for the road, and on the road it is applied. It is applied. We use the alternative route to avoid capacity bottlenecks, and there are a couple of other practices that are applied. In organizations, same structures, but the traffic jams are called waiting lists, endless discussions, and so forth, and that just doesn't resonate as a traffic jam. And when we go about it, nobody felt responsible. And when we look into the brain, similar structures once again. And here, I'm now confident to say, based on brain structures, that this law is missing in brain research and is the likely missing link between causes and symptoms, like emotional outbursts, is a missing link between symptoms, between causes and symptoms reported for mental matters such as ADHD, autism, dyslexia, and the like. If you think about it, people with a condition like ADHD and emotional outbursts, they easily lead to them to doing things that should not be done. Now, from this, we thought, okay, what is going on here? Brain research doesn't have the laws of nature available. So what we did here is, and thank you, and with the help of John Paul, Marion, and a few others, we started to develop this manifesto. To us, it's not minutes, but seconds away from 12 o'clock. But yeah, I had the benefit of knowing a professor, that's Michael Fitzgerald. He's also a psychiatrist and has researched people like Einstein. And it turned out that the way that Einstein and others would go about things like this differs from how things are done today. Einstein is known for his mathematical background, but actually when we look how he achieved this, he was highly creative, out of the box, did things outside the dominant lines of thought. The same applies to Newton, Darwin, and many others. So what we applied here is this thinking, and this led us to what we have just seen, some 13 laws of nature we have identified. Actually, last Saturday, we have pretty much finished this initial list with laws of nature that are, in our views, highly applicable to social matters, for solving peace matters or what's in the way, you name it. And if we further look into it, one of the things falling out of this is partial solutions will be insufficient. There will be always too many external dependencies and obstacles in the way. So we have created some sort of foundation for this. And if you look at values, for example, you'll find human core values like health, safety, basic needs, shelter, food, energy, and so forth, all integrated, and this complemented with behavioral essentials such as being authentic, a new integrity that misses today's need, and here, take on ownership, so important. If we could get people taking on ownership and use the innovative solutions that are around today. I can, with my background in the innovation field, I can comfortably say there are so many high impact solutions around that could be used today, but they just don't get through the system anymore. And the one of the main goals of this manifesto is to get the basics together so we can open today's fixed ways of thinking and open the door to get the solutions, different type of thinking, the core human values, integrity, respect each other, and so forth in the system. And to give you an idea how it can be done more practical, we have actually created a checklist, very simple things that everybody can use to see whether an organization that makes the decisions, where decisions are made, is in line with the things we have identified here. And with that, I would like to conclude it, perhaps to give you an idea on how the brain can be influenced. One of the things that have been done with my son and myself is switching the dominant eye to the other side by blinding it. But that's something that needs the guidance of a professional. That was just one of the tricks that were applied. That's one of the flatten the curve practices through which the way people think, mental blockades can be opened and thinking changed. There are many more triggers available to change the thinking. With that, I would like to thank you and give it back to Jean-Paul.
All right, thank you very much, Eugen. This is really a toolkit that helps us get from a fragmented, competitive type of silo-driven structure into a much more integrated way of working together between the different institutions on the core values using the laws of nature. This is one way of, or this is the way that we are trying to establish the things here in the Netherlands. I have, for instance, a community called Areas, which is working with 23 municipalities, which are 23 different type of political silos. Each of them voted through their voting systems, and these politicians all have the keyword of health in their policy making right now, and which means that we are converting an entire storytelling of a region from a highly polluting region into a health-driven region, which means that we are transforming the entire region and all the functions in the region all together, which is an incredible exercise, but it is an exercise done by the citizens, by the politicians, by the industries, everybody together, because everybody values the human values of health and the safety in our relationship with nature now, which is kind of interesting. So that is a message that I would like to put across to everybody. Those are instruments of all our peacekeepers and peace messengers, that these instruments are available to each of you. And we are very much willing to extend it to you. And if you have any platforms where we can either present this or show our experience, then we are very much willing to do so. So thank you very much, Eugen, for this this exercise. Next week, somewhere next week, the entire manifesto will be shared online with the videos and everything, because in version 1, it's available for everybody. So we can share it and make it practical too. Now we go to the last piece of music, which is one which is very warm-heartedly seconded by the person who has been standing side by side by me while organizing this. She is not only the person who is presenting it, but she has been singing it. Upeme, this is your own piece of music. So here you go. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. So with pleasure, I present my music, which is titled The Value String. So the Value String was released by Upemem on the 1st of September 2020, and the instrumental version of the Value String was released on the 8th of September 2020. The Value String is a song about positive action, about resilience. It's a song about peace. It's a song about unity. Enjoy it.
Saw the world. I wondered why there's so much rot. I saw big problems and lots of solutions, but there's not much work. Not much work. There's not much work. Not much work for the calls to action. I, you, we are able. We are able. We are able. I, you, we are able. To make our world a chain unbreakable. Peace, love, patience, tolerance, gratitude. String your values, string your values. That's the attitude. Where your confidence, joy, and kindness. Where we not persevere, keep smiling. Wisdom, integrity, fairness, forgiveness, precious gems on the value string. I spun the globe and saw the world. I wondered why there's so much rot. I saw big problems and lots of solutions, but there's not much work. Not much work for the calls to action. I, you, we are able. We are able. We are able. I, you, we are able. We are able to make our world a chain unbreakable. Peace, love, patience, tolerance, gratitude. String your values, string your values. That's the attitude. Where your confidence, joy, and kindness. Where we not persevere, keep smiling. Wisdom, integrity, fairness, forgiveness, precious gems on the value string. Let's live our values. Worthy people, let's be our values. All good people, let's teach the values. Beautiful people, keep wearing your values. We are people, let's live our values. Worthy people, let's be our values. Let's teach the values. Keep wearing the values. The value string. Sing along, string along. The value string. Sing along, string along, the value string. Sing along, string along.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Really magic to have this All right, we've arrived to the end of the presentations and the program itself. I'm going to stop the recording because I forgot to stop the recording after the presentation of